Just was scrolling through the internet here because I basically couldn't sleep because I've been working with sports videos the whole evening. So I was scrolling through the internet and found something very interesting because if you have been following my channel, you know that I'm a big Star Wars fan. I think that's pretty obvious from some of the videos that I've done for my channel here, but I'm also a big Star Trek fan, and just a couple of like quick thoughts on the subject because CBS notified people, was it 2015, that they are gonna make this new Star Trek series um, called Star Trek Discovery, which sounded pretty neat. The thing is that it sounded pretty neat. It sounded like an excellent idea at first, um, because we haven't had a Star Trek series uh, since 2005 when Star Trek Enterprise wrapped production, which I think was only right because, let's face it, for me, Star Trek Enterprise sucked. But enough of that. And now back to this Star Trek Discovery. They promised that it's gonna be an kind of a new take on Star Trek that is gonna premiere and stream only on CBS All Access. I think the name of the service is, and that got me a bit worried because I live in Finland, so I was like, hey, wait a minute, I can't watch the series here in Finland because it's on CBS All Access, and you have to have all kinds of you have to basically buy a subscription that is basically available only for US based people. But then I got some fantastic news when I heard that Netflix is gonna stream the series here in Finland. Netflix made this blockbuster deal with CBS to stream the series outside of the US. So since that announcement, maybe a little under a year ago, I have waited and waited and waited and we still waited for the series to get going, and then you hear that production has or will begin next month, but then you start to hear of all these production problems and problems with the production team and problems with the actors and blah 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 blah. It started to unravel pretty fast, and it started to sound pretty bad. And at some point, I think they promised that the series um, would premiere in January 2017. Well, that didn't obviously happen, and I was watching my newest favorite movie channel this evening called Popcorn Talk. You should really go to their channel as well. It's a smaller channel that has very interesting take on movie news, sci-fi movie news, and uh, some pop culture news as well. So it's bit different than, for example, Kaleido Video. But anyhow, I heard on their channel that they pushed the release date of the new Star Trek series even further down the line to this coming summer, 2017. So, as a Star Trek fan, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound very promising. It even the people working on the series. I was going through the Wikipedia page, which I will post down there on the description. But I was going through their Wikipedia page and trying to find out that who is working on the project, and I have heard that there's gonna be all these kind of Star Trek alumni working on the series, and it's in perfect good hands. And honestly, I looked at the page like 5 minutes ago before I started this recording, and I basically have forgotten all the production people's names because they didn't ring a bell to a person that has watched Star Trek since I was about 7 or 8, because my dad started to tape Star Trek: The Next Generation episodes for me on our VHS, and I wore down those VHS tapes, and I got to know some very like big names through Star Trek that are still like doing like Herman Zimmerman and Rick Berman and Michael Okuda, and there's like tens and tens of people like that if you watch all the Star Trek series and movies. So they had a very stable crew doing those things, and they knew what they were doing. But now that I was going through this list of people handling this Star Trek Discovery, it's really I'm really starting to think that it's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen, and CBS should either just take more firm control over the series, because it seems from the material that I have been reading that it's not in a very tight control over at CBS. They kind of let the people do what they want to do, and as a result, it seems, at least for me, looking from the outside in, that the people doing the series or developing the series, they don't have a grasp on what they are doing. And I think that's a problem that CBS should like handle pretty quick if they still want to do something with this series, or the other alternative is that they should just pull the plug on this series and like admit that Star Trek series as a series, Star Trek is, at least in my mind, it's dead, because as I said before, Star Trek Enterprise was crap. It was shit. There was some good characters, but other than that, it was shit. So coming from that, um, I would actually say just that let Star Trek be, let it go. Like Star Trek has now three uh, good, not great, but good movies in Star Trek from 2009, and then Star Trek Into Darkness, and my absolute favorite of those three, the newest one, Star Trek Beyond, that came out, was it last year? And they should just leave it at that, and maybe do a couple of movies still, and then just leave it and don't do anything with Star Trek. If this Star Trek Discovery stuff is the best you can do, please stop doing it, and yeah, just let Star Trek kind of fade back into the background, because it's never going to be like Star Wars. And I'm beginning to have very strong opinions also on Star Wars and the way it's going, but that's a subject for another video that I might do in the next couple of days, just to bring out my feelings, uh, not only on Star Wars, but the way it's been marketed and the way that some internet channels and YouTube channels are maybe being too positive on it all the time. In my mind, maybe I can put the name of the channel out there, my favorite movie channel of all time in internet, but lately not so good with Star Wars has been Collido Video. I think that most of you people that have been following me know that I like that channel a lot. I like reverence them a lot, and but yeah, that's a story for another other video altogether. So don't let the same thing. How should I say this? Uh, don't let this new Star Trek thing that has now these three movies. Don't let it go too far, because this Star Trek Discovery feels like it's something that the people doing it, as I said before, the people doing it, they don't have a clue what they are doing. They don't. It seems from the outside in that they don't have a clue of what's Star Trek, and yeah, I think that's the main problem. Um, from reading the material, it seems that they had a couple of nice ideas, and then some people discovered that hey, we can work together. They don't say it out straight out loud, but it sure feels like it, because you have people that are like, hey, now we are putting this thing out there and coming out with the series. No, we and then a couple of months later, you will read that no, we are not, because I have these other things that I need to be doing. It happened to one of the executive producers or showrunners on Star Trek Discovery. So my final word to CBS is that do something, save the series if possible. But if you cannot save the series, don't try. Let it die, and let it be, and let Star Trek be Star Trek. And don't start to play with it the same way that maybe Lucasfilm is now playing with Star Wars and coming up with all new stuff for Star Wars, because um, it works, and then again it doesn't work. And I think that Star Trek is now proving that at least this Star Trek Discovery it won't work. So, but that's my thought on the subject. Have a good night or morning or day whenever you're watching. Remember to subscribe. It's somewhere down there, the subscribe button, and comment, dislike, like, whatever. It would mean the world to me. So yeah, see you again soon. Bye bye.